Hello, God bless, Lee Rice here, in exactly the same position I sat in yesterday. Ciao, it's between you and you. Visibly teaching the children in front of the adult society crossing this small square. First, I'll start with the positives. I recorded a video yesterday after 5 hours in sitting in this position, 5 ore, in exactly this position, across this section, watching the adult society crossing the square fiercely refuse to see, hear or feel anything at all. Zero. Including on repeat example. And some people have said to me, maybe they don't know about the greatest artists of all time. Well, consider this while I do this. Is this the real life thriller? I put a spell on you, and the people bowed and prayed to the near God they made in the sound of silence. People say I'm crazy watching the world's imagined wind of change. I've extended that sequence much more. So in that one small sequence, which I've said to the Bambinis while walking past, and many other variations too, I'm quoting and tributing many of the greatest writers, artists, poets, musicians of all time. And 99.9% of the adult society crossing this square have fiercely rejected it. Fiercely rejected it. Without coming over and saying, hey, how are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. Would you like some pane? Would you like some aqua? As I've demonstrated in many other places before. But given the volume of adults moving through Napoli in this section, it's extra insanity. Extra insanity. And this is why. Somehow, the children, the Bambinis crossing this square, can see what's taking place. All of them. Ciao. Happy reality, goodies. Back to you in view. And I'm visibly teaching their children on repeat over and over again in this one position after battling from being robbed in Salerno under a camera, under a bright light. Same as I did there, same as I did in Agrigento. Love you, Agrigento. Same as I did in Cefalo outside the church. Sleeping outside the church is in the portal of 1957. So I'm not just repeating my truth with no guitar. I'm sharing the truth of the greatest artist of all time on repeats, again and again and again. Now, some might say, well, they don't know about the greatest artist of all time that I just mentioned. Interesting. But then, I could say stuff in Italian too. I bambini possono vedere, è un miracolo. The children can see, it's a miracle, which I've already written in Switzerland. So I'm saying that in Italian too. And they reject that too, while the children can see what's going on. So, I'll show you the other side in a second. 99.9% of the adult society in 5 hours yesterday, while I was recording the video, which I didn't share, in 5 hours yesterday, it took 5 hours out of 5 ore, out of thousands and thousands of adults crossing this section in the heart of Napoli to even say, how's it going? 5 hours for one single adult to stop and say, here you go. Nice to meet you. How are you? With 5 books displayed on the ground in this position right here. Now I'm up to 10 hours. I was going to call it Social Experiment, Zombies Don't Feel Pain, Stage 3. But then some other interesting stuff has happened while the children can see. I'll focus on just the one, insanity. Over to my left here, I'll turn the camera soon, is Burger King. So, I go there and think, okay, I've received some help, some support. I haven't really eaten or slept. And I've had to survive. Thank you so much, Renault and family. I've had to survive while not sleeping. What have I got to do? Well, I've got to eat, sit in a bar a little bit, kill some time, walk around the city, map out the city, kill some time, stay awake all night. Because I took a Coca-Cola and caffeine just to stay awake, I had a mega Zucchero overdose, which I had in Cefalo and Agrigento too, which I've discovered once again, it ultimately was the Zucchero. By taking and not really eating, because I couldn't eat, one single Zucchero inside the cafe on top of one single Coca-Cola. I hardly made it to the Decathlon yesterday. And seeing while I tried to sleep last night for the first time, I had 5 nights of almost zero sleep, and discovered very clearly that that is ultimately what's destroying me. So today's the first day, I've got a headache, the tremors have stopped, I need the toilet much less often. Really? But still really feel the effects. For 12 hours yesterday, I suffered like crazy. Most of the effects have gone today. But that, all of my sinuses completely filled with this that I've still got now. Is that the smoking? Is it drinking a beer? It isn't. It was the sugar that caused it. I tested it in Matteo de Bello and Agrigento too. But back to the story. So, I think, okay, I'll be a customer in Burger King right there. Walk over there. Well, they got a toilet too. Maybe I need a toilet again now. Under some desperado situations, I need a toilet. Caused by the sugar. 100%. This time I've got no question. I did experiments too in Jeffaloo. I'll take that much more, take a second Coca-Cola or any other high sugar drink and see what happens next. Where suddenly, all of a sudden, from that much more, I would be completely destroyed walking through Jeffaloo. I'm sorry, clearing my sinuses like this. And then I did it exactly the same here too. Like, damn, okay, it will clear my throat, which I convinced myself it would for a long time, over and over again, only to witness exactly the same opposite results of that. And yesterday, like I did sometimes in Agrigento going into the forest of reality, and like I did in Jeffaloo too, while sleeping outside their churches, and Agrigento churches too, I felt like I could potentially die. While I made it on the mission to make it to Decathlon, I had to sit outside. I thought I'll take a beer and a smoke just to make sure I'm not walking around Decathlon vomiting on the ground. While I slept outside, I did get some sleep for the first time in 4 nights. While waking up, I can't breathe. Like this. Sinuses completely congested and destroyed. Now today, I'm recovering. I feel like the shaking is almost complete. The tremors. Some people who saw me this way with 4 nights of sleep deprivation out of 5 would have thought I was on some kind of drugs. Was I? No. I could almost not even eat the snack I took in the morning yesterday, a little pastry with some meat inside. I didn't even finish it. Then last night, while I tried to find a good position after Decathlon, I thought, okay, I'll take a pizza. I've got to eat. That's exactly what I was saying. I've got to eat, even in the pizza place. I've got to eat. Get the pizza. I could only eat 1/3 of the pizza. I literally could not eat. Walk around the corner, which I'd already planned. I'll sleep opposite the church. I was going to sleep at the church, like I did in Agrigento and many other places too, Campo de Fury, around the corner. I couldn't even. I said, I'm saying, mi dispiace. I can't possibly finish it. I saved it to today. I thought I'll eat it in the morning, threw it away because I like delicious pizza, really delicious pizza. But I could not eat. Then finally, I got the protection from the cold. I took a yoga mat because they didn't have any layer, but I checked the size, okay, 20 euros, and I have a lot of experience of this. And that is good enough protection from the ground, from the Torino, which is the #1 most important thing, while sleeping outside in what's been nighttime, very cold temperatures, 4 degrees. But the ground temperatures and the wall temperatures, try sleeping leaning against the wall, and on the ground with no protection at all. I said this in other videos, Johnny. I'm really sorry. Thank you so much for paying me that. I got robbed underneath a camera in front of many people and a bright light too. Crazy shit. So then I said, okay, this time I won't carry anything expensive. All right. Like what? And here I am. I sat at the station after being robbed, not even reporting it. What's the point? The police told me to move from that position with total targeting and discrimination, even though my ex-wife was police. Love you, Joe. Still, sorry for the mistakes I made, truly. And somehow, I could prepare a translation in advance after teaching the children over and over and over again, and then say, I'll return to the same position, which I've done many times, Jeffaloo. Return to the same position. They tell me I can't play. I can't share the truth. Okay, this time, I'll be a customer in the bar exactly opposite Bruno Cafe. It wasn't your fault. Shakalakers, Amigo do Realtors, wasn't your fault. But then I could walk to the toilet and thought, okay, I'll order 2 beers on each occasion. I'll order 2 beers. If anyone comes to tell me to move and discriminate against me, I'll laugh and let the other people on the other side of the road know. I'll just cross the road and sit at the table as a customer. And then somehow I can cross the road as a customer underneath a bright light and a camera pointing exactly at my position, with many people facing in this direction, including the staff in everywhere other than Bruno Cafe, and somehow walk back outside in 1 minute and 30 seconds, una minuti 36 secondi, only to discover that in front of everyone facing that way while I'm here, from the other side of the street, everybody decided to look away at exactly the same time. And no matter how many times I sat on the other side of the street calculating it, I'm using Google Translate to say, what, nobody saw that? Nobody saw that. Went back again and again and again, and sat in the bars and the train station like this, shaking like this, falling asleep. Where shall I go next? Somehow, nobody picked up on me reporting a crime, a robbery taking place directly in front of what? 200 people. Let's say half of them were facing in this direction. Half of them, 50%, were facing in this direction. Camera there. Is it working, Miss Aldeval? No. Discriminated twice against, even after showing translation. I'm a writer of 25 anni, a writer of 25 years, teaching the children with my guitar away. In English, you can't sit down, walk away. In English, twice. Still went back to defend my position. And say, well, what are you going to do about this? I'll order 2 beers from Bruno Cafe. I'll be a customer. And even say to the people, well, what are they going to do if they come up and tell me I can't sit here and I'll just cross the road? I say, keep watching. It'll be a solo pura commedia. Guess what happened next? In all of that time I sat there teaching the children, watch it, I'd already shown the translation with my ex-wife, Joe, police. Guess what happened next? Not one single police anywhere to be seen. No sign at all. 0.000. I sat in the station. 3 police took the cafe in Bruno Cafe. I'm talking about it. I'm saying, what? I'm saying, I got robbed in this position. I'm in the station saying, there's police in the station. I'm saying, I got robbed. Not one single person said anything about it at all. I looked at the map. Shall I go south? Love you, Argento. Shall I? Or shall I go to Napoli with no guitar at all? And no backpack at all? Given the fact that I'd already sat in that position with no guitar, leaning against the wall and on the ground closed. Crazy shit. Absolute total insanity. Complete insanity. So what happened next? So I arrive here with no guitar. I'm like, well, I arrive at 6 a.m. and walk around the city and all of this. Plastic shit everywhere. Like my memory of exactly this city. Much love Napoli. I really do. I think it's a remarkable city. Plastic shit, trash shit, on New Year's Day. Well, how much shit was there while I walked around the city? Guess what? Total destruction. Total destruction. Entire city destroyed. And then this happened next. I can't possibly sleep on the very, very cold terrain. I don't have the right equipment, but I can find some sheltered positions and try to sleep. Someone gave me a blanket, lost the blanket accidentally while the cleanup crew picked it up and thought it was trash. Wasn't their fault. Then continue the battle, walk around, sit down watching the autumnal lavoro, the cleanup crew doing their remarkable job, and see very, very clearly the ones who respect that and organise it in a really organised, okay, this is the trash position. Organise it, okay. And the other ones who just don't care, alone and importer. The trash is completely full and they'll put the trash, stack it up on top when it's falling on the ground. Complete madness. And then, right next to it, the same I saw in Agrigento and in Cefalù, there can be a plant or a tree, which I saw at one of the stationis when I came back from Agrigento today. Came back from Decathlon today. Damn, I'm tired. So, I sat there explaining the insanity of that. There's the tree, and a big pot, yeah? And somehow, inside that with the trash, this far away is the end of a cigarette and a plastic empty bottle. And right next to it, from this far away, is the trash. So somehow, with no logic or respect whatsoever, many, through the entire city, will ultimately reject the correct position to put their trash and somehow put it in the incorrect position instead. complete and total insanity with a total loss of respect and zero logic whatsoever. I've documented it and logged it in Cefalù and Agrigento too. Love you, Cefalù, love you, Agrigento. But that is what I saw. It's just the truth, Lavarese Pericolo. And that is the problem with Agrigento. No matter, and love you, Agrigento. What I meant to say from my exhaustion is that is exactly the same problem I witnessed here on a much, 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 much bigger scale. I'm in Napoli for the third visit after seeing Zombie Sans Fil Pain right here. I wanted to come back. I'm praying for a reality pizza. I hope you know it's true in the portal of prayer, Agrigento. I hope you know it's true, Napoli. I remember you. I'm praying for reality pizza. And on the very first moment I arrived, through all of the time, walking the streets through the night, gotta stay warm, stop a little bit, try and sleep, can't sleep. Witnessing exactly the same insanity, Follia De Laurenti, Andrea, on a much bigger scale. And then seeing the ones who have respect to not do that over and over and over again. And, well, some people have said this is a dangerous place. But here I am walking the streets at night. Walking the streets at night with nothing, nowhere to sleep. And somehow, on my third visit here, on my fifth day, I can let you know some interesting information. This is my third visit. My very good friend that I met on the road in the hostel is from here. We met the other day. I've walked around, seen absolutely 0.000 crime at all, as is exactly the same for 60 days in Campo de Fiori, Rome. So, is that necessarily true? I'm letting you know now. Not from what I've seen up to now. While walking the city, sleeping on the ground, sleeping in an okay visible position where homeless brothers and sisters are sleeping, walking the city, I have not seen on my third visit in 5 days in Napoli or Rome either one single crime whatsoever. But yet somehow in my journey I was robbed. That was my fault. It absolutely was. I had a bad feeling before I did it. I slept down a dark road outside an apartment. I was exhausted. I should have gone into the well, but that could have made the situation worse. I was being followed. I was robbed while sleeping. How did they do that? I was in a dream. Untied my security measures, wake up, back on. That was ultimately my fault. It really was. I made a mistake. I should have listened to my instinct. I made a mistake. Matteo de Vallo, friends with the staff of the Monkey Bar, placed my backpack and guitar underneath 3 cameras. Tobacco's there. Bar cameras right there. Be told the cameras aren't working. Many cameras on the street. Nobody that I got to know in Matteo de Vallo could ultimately believe what happened. Reported to the police. Did something happen? I stayed there 4 days. After that, freezing in the station, in the stazione, while a lunatic who was walking around where I left, I thought I'd go back, see if he's gone. Walks around the corner, takes his backpack, small backpack, walks around the corner and says, "Capito." I reported the crime to emergency services after being robbed. Guess what happened next? 4 hours later, he's still walking the street and in front of witnesses took out the knife again. How could someone who threatens to kill someone in a station still be walking the small town 4 hours later? I'm stopping the police saying, look, he's right there. Look, he's right there. Look, he's right there. Nothing happened at all. Zero. In front of many witnesses, not counting Bruno Cafe, I can cross the street to go to a toilet and talk about it for 26 hours, 26 horas, from 1 minuto 30 secondi, talk about it, and nobody, complete silence, has got anything to say at all. I can talk about it in other places too, even in front of the police, and nobody has got anything to say at all. While I was visibly robbed in front, underneath a bright light. Nothing to say at all. Absolutely nothing to say it again. Why didn't I report it? What's the point? What's the point? Nothing's going to happen. It's been a crime. Not interested. I've been back to Napoli, so I decided, where should I go? Come back. And up to now, even though I've had to suffer crazy amounts, and my greatest suffering up to now is from taking 1 Coca-Cola. I take 1 cafe on top, and not really eat at all, and have this crazy mucus effect, crazy mucus effect, and tremors and all of this. And then discover some interesting stuff can happen too. While clearly witnessing a madness of no logic and no respect for those who can't seem to find the correct positions but the trash. Go to some toilets. Go to Burger King right there. I'll show you. I'll point the camera the other way. Go to Burger King right there. Order some food and then see the sign. The toilet, the baño, is a randomly selected code. So you need the toilet and you're going to order some food too. But to use the toilet before you can order the food, imagine you've got my problem from the sugar. And wait, but I really need the toilet. I'm going to be a customer. But before you can do that, you've got to get your randomly selected code. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? I could mention some other negatives where I've asked for the toilet in one particular place only, but it's not even worth it. But that is ultimate insanity. So when I went as a customer, people were holding the door open. And I tried it 2 more times today. Hold the door open. Hold the door open. Randomly generated codes. What? To go to the toilet? Complete insanity. Complete total insanity. This is sucro. So today I didn't take a Coca-Cola. I took a Monster energy drink instead, sucro-free, with some caffeine. I felt the caffeine, but the mucus is still the problem. Still cleared my sinuses. Like this all night, even while I was trying to finally sleep, I could hardly walk. Literally hardly walk. Got to find a good position. And now that's starting to reduce a little bit. And the tremors and the desperation for the toilet have ultimately reduced. Today I've had 1 single sugar in my first cafe of the day, latte macchiato. And still I could hardly walk. I've got to make it to the station. Yeah, completely destroyed by 1 Coca-Cola and 1 cafe at 9 a.m. yesterday. When I took the 1 cafe on top of the Coca-Cola, I felt it immediately. I tested this in Mataudaval too. Damn, I said that because I'm thinking about there too. I tested that in Sheffield too under similar circumstances. Avoid food and find out for sure, is it that? And I knew it was. It was that. And then I tested it in Agrigento too, where I'm going into the forest of reality, sleeping in the wild with my tent before I was robbed. And like, damn, I can't make it through the night. Maybe I'll die here. And on the way to the Decathlon last night, that's exactly how I felt. Maybe I'll die. Really that bad. Ultimate destruction, completely destroyed because of the sucro. And here I am now on day 5. And realistically, even though I've sat in this position for 10 hours, sharing the truth on repeat for the children who all saw what was taking place, who could understand I'm sharing the truth for the greatest artists of all time, and saying lots more than that too. The children all noticed, and 99.9% of the adult society in an area with many adults moving around refused to recognize anything I was saying at all. Fiercely rejected it, no matter what I said. Well, okay, I made like, what, €5 in 10 hours in this position in Napoli. The other positions were okay. People bring me pizza. People bring me, hey, someone brought me a cake. But I come back to defend this position to make a point about the insanity of that, like I've done in many other positions. How could you not recognize, while I repeat in front of many people, the truth of the greatest artist of all time, visibly teaching the children with no guitar, which is what I've done in this position now for 10 hours. But 99% of the moving adults across this square and every square for many years will fiercely reject any subject at all to do with the truth, regardless of who is delivering it. And this is the insanity of society. I've sat with homeless brothers and sisters, begging brothers and sisters, who many have been my best friends. And the vast majority of the moving adults ultimately reject music and art and ultimately have no compassion whatsoever. I've seen lots of positives here, and I put this again down to a bad experience in this position. Fair enough, there's a lot of people. Maybe they don't notice this. But I can let you know, the children did, all of them, every single one. And the people in a stop position could have not denied what they've seen while I'm sharing the truth over and over and over again. They cross the square, they can be 1 meter away. Well, didn't see you. Oh, you're sharing the truth. In Italian. Didn't see you, didn't hear you. But yet the children can. Just the truth. I wanted to keep it short. And I'll call this randomly selected code. And then say this at the end. Is this the real life thriller? I put a spell on you, and the people band and pray to the name God made in the sound of silence. People say I'm crazy. watching the wheels. Imagine when it changed. So in that small section then, how many artists did I just tribute of the greatest artists, writers, artists, poets, musicians of all time? And how come the moving adult society crossing the square failed to recognise it, but the bambinis, the children, do? God bless.